Days after devastating floods swept through Mokwa local government area of Niger State in north-central Nigeria, residents say they are still without basic necessities. With homes destroyed and no functional internal displaced persons camp set up, many victims are struggling to survive without shelter, medicine, or clean water. Our correspondent Joshua Imai brings us more reports. He's been following up this story. But let's take a look at this package before we get to speak with him.
The flood waters may have receded in Mokwa, but what remains is a crisis no less deadly: homelessness, pain, devastation, and heartbreak.
We don't see calm. So where you they sleep now? Oh, the place where things happen, now they sleep.
Nearly a week after the incident, the promised IDP camp remains missing. The war chief says it was never created.
Where is the camp? Tell me which government say that is camp. They located one primary school there, when nobody there. Nobody there. Only children, those almajis went there and sleep. And you are not telling me that there is camp.
With no shelter provided, more victims are gradually falling ill, and there is fear of an increase in the death toll, not from the floods, but from government's neglect.
What do you feel like currently?
I'm feeling headache and cough and cold again.
Cough and cold. This started after this incident or before the incident?
After it started.
I've experienced so far like malaria, cholera, and fevers, and lots more of waterborne diseases.
You are sure about cholera?
I'm sure.
The Niger State Emergency Management Agency insists an IDP camp has been set up and that relief efforts are ongoing. But to those on ground, hope is drying up, just like the flood waters did after the devastation.
It is 5 days after. Don't you think it's too late?
It is not too late because they refuse to come. If you look at it, some people are still here scavenging to try to get what they are going to salvage, from the debris they have here. And most of them are still traumatized. And some of them feel it's even a slap for me to go and say, when I have my brother or my sister or my daughter, my son or my daughter having his own house, that I should come and stay in the school. And then some of them, because they have not experienced this before, they are thinking, if I go to camp, who will feed me?
Here in Tifin Madza Primary School, donor agencies are only just beginning to set up camp for flood victims. Until now, there was no shelter or proper support on ground. Residents say the response has been slow and deeply inadequate.
Clean drinking water remains a luxury in this forgotten corner. Most victims rely on rainwater or unsafe wells to survive.
In
Mokwa, it is not the flood that is killing hope, it is the silence that has followed. The people here aren't asking for luxury, just a basic Mokwa, Niger State. For New Central, I am Joshua Imai.
A heartbreaking report. What? The reality of our brothers and our sisters in Mokwa local government area. Joshua Imai did that report and he's there live to bring us coverage from Mokwa. Joshua, watching that report was beyond heartbreaking. The videos and the footage were absolutely unreal. You said that it's not just the flood that's killing the people, it's the silence after. Can you expand further on that?
Well, like you rightly said, it is not just the flood, the silence after. Days after the incident, those affected are still expecting aid from the government. And the only aid they could get as at yesterday were just little bag of rice that were given to them. Most of them, they were given to console them because of the losses they suffered and incurred. When I mean losses, I mean belongings and lives of those that were lost to the devastating flood that ravaged part of that area. Well, it is quite unfortunate that even days after the incident, there is still no set aside place for them to rest their head for now. Most of them resort to sleeping in that particular place where that incident occurred, and it is disheartening that they are not hearing from the government as to what is the next step to take. I even spoke to the chief of the area who confirmed to me that there was no camp, and the government are not saying anything. The only thing they are saying is they set up camp. Here is the camp, pinpoint the particular area that is the camp. I took a visit to where they said they situated the camp at a primary school in that area. I can confirm to you that that place is nothing to make note of a camp. That place is subpar. When I mean subpar, in the doors of those classrooms, they still have lock. They are still under lock and key. No running water, and they are not saying anything. The government agencies are not saying anything. I got so lucky that I met with the person from the State Emergency Authority, who actually told me that they set up camp. I quizzed him further. These people are saying there's no camp. Why are you saying there's a camp? And I even showed him photos and videos of that place, and he's still insisting that that place is a camp. So the silence from the government is another thing that is rocking the boat of these individuals that have suffered so much, and they've incurred so much losses in lives and in properties as to that incident that occurred here in Mokwa.
Has there been any presence of members of the government officials? Let's just say, has there been presence of government officials, especially from yesterday up until today? And can you also share with us where the people currently are as we speak this morning? Are they still situated within the affected areas, or have they moved?
Well, the only presence we had was that of the wife of the governor of this state. She came a few days ago, where she donated an amount of money to them. However, that is not really what they want now. The only presence we have now currently around this place is the Director of Information of the State Emergency Management Authority, that's NSEMA. He was there when they were handing out the handouts they gave to them yesterday. That's the only presence they have. Aside that, nothing, no security, nothing. Few days back, the Minister of Police Affairs said the federal government is committed to ensuring that lives and properties are safeguarded around the camp and in where that particular incident occurred. I can confirm to you that there's not a single policeman around that area. I've been here from since Sunday till now. I can tell you for sure that there's no security man, no policeman or whatever. Most times when we mean government presence, we mean those that have been designated by government to render emergency aid, medicine, treatment, and even security. But I can confirm to you that those people are nowhere to be found around that area. Well, this state is expecting the vice president today to touch down, maybe commensurate with them, and maybe he's going to bring some federal intervention to salvage the situation and to give them succor. But on the long run, we've not seen one particular government official aside the State Emergency Management Authority who were here. And those ones that they've been here, they've not really been doing anything as regards to it. The only people we saw are some officials or from the primary health care who were going around taking statistics of those affected in their houses and checking on those who were actually sick or who are actually sick as regards to the incident that occurred here in Mokwa.
Emmanuel, just to clarify with you, regarding the shelter where they're potentially or where they are currently being held or kept, what's the feeding situation like? Do they have to fend for themselves? Are they getting at least some decent measure of food?
I can tell you for sure that those people are left to their own fate. Now it is taking the kind of intervention of those who were not affected to absorb these people into their homes. And those ones, they too, they've been trying to offer succor to those who are affected. There are those who are not affected, they are giving them clothes, absorbing them into their household, even giving them food. So as regards to food, the only thing I saw was, I think 4 days back, was where they were handing over to them few loaves of bread and 2 sachets of tea, that is a malt and milk. Aside that, nothing else for provision. As regards to the facility for where they are to stay, the only donor agency that has given them something for now is the UNICEF. And UNICEF just created a small tent in Tifin Maza Primary School. As regards to Pege Primary School, where they say they've instituted a camp for them to stay, I can tell you for sure that that thing is nothing more of a camp. That place is deficient to to say and pinpoint that that particular place is a camp. No basic thing to put to the point or put to the fact that that particular place is a camp. That is what we have now.
Joshua, I mean, you've shared with us what the true picture, what the current picture in Mokwa local government area is. I've seen some of the interviews that you've done as well with the citizens who have to live through this unfortunate ordeal. How is the state of their mind?
Well, in one word, these people are devastated. They've not experienced this thing for a long time now, and it is disheartening for them to see this thing come to light and still no intervention. Their hope is on the brink of tipping off, and the only thing that could salvage their emotions right now is government intervention, which they are not getting any. The only intervention they've been getting for a while now are just few bags of rice. And when you give these people a bag of rice, how do you intend to see them to cook this bag of rice? What we are supposed to see is meals given to these people daily. What we are supposed to see is sleeping mat, or maybe preferable place where they could lay their head for the night, given to these people daily. However, that is not the case here. Those people are left to their fate to stay in that particular place where that incident occurred. Some of them have spread their mat there to sleep and to take the night. Afterwards, they resume their day going about. So they are just hopeful, and their hope is gradually dying down.
All right, Joshua, just finally from our end here, what's the update on the death toll? Have you been able to grab hold of the numbers so far?
What we've been seeing so far are just estimations. A few days back, the deputy governor said that the death toll has hit 200 and still 1,000 persons unaccounted for. Those are just estimations, not putting aside the ones, the corpses that the families, those who were affected, have recovered. You can't count that because the government were not there when they were doing those counts. So I can tell you for sure that they lost a huge amount of lives as regards that incident. And one can't pinpoint or wrap his hand around the amount of people that were lost. Some, they lost 21 persons from one household lost 9, and an Islamic teacher who has over 800 students is still searching for those who were lost. So basically that is the tale around households and families around here. So we can't pinpoint the particular amount of people that were lost to this incident. All we can just do is estimate. And that is it.
And that again is another challenge, an indication of our problems with data, or our challenges with data, seeing as if after this we don't have a clear picture of how many people were lost from the flood and how many people have been lost after the flood. It's really sad, Joshua. Please stay well. Extend our heartfelt condolences to the people of Niger State, and we look forward to connecting with you when the Vice President visits, hopefully, and let's see if that would boost the morale of citizens and maybe, offer the kind of support that they may need in this time. Thank you, Joshua.
It's a pleasure.
I honestly don't know how to feel about this update, Joe. It's heartbreaking. No Nigerian is more Nigerian than another Nigerian. Yeah. While we are here, people are moving on with their life. Our colleagues, our brothers, our friends, citizens of our country are languishing. I saw the clips, the flies, everything. Like watching those videos, at some point, I'm sure you saw when I cringed. I couldn't look at the screen. I felt like we should have even put viewer discretion before playing some of the videos, because of how it's unimaginable and unthinkable that we're just moving on like nothing happens. Again, it feels like we run the country in isolation. When something hits one part of the country, we don't feel it as deeply around the country as we should. There should be some sort of solidarity. I'm hoping that right now a number of civil society organizations and NGOs will please rise to the aid of the citizens in Mokwa local government area in Niger State to offer help and assistance in the ways that maybe the government has not been able to meet up with. They're talking about needing food, needing water, potable water. They're talking about needing medication, especially because of how very terrible things have been. They're dealing with cholera. They're dealing with, the fact that their waters are already infected. So there's some measure of, because of how unhygienic the environment is, they will be dealing with high levels of cholera. Cholera is deadly. We don't want another cholera outbreak. So what they experience is what we call double jeopardy. The fact that they've had to lose their homes, lose their loved ones, And now, even after that, it doesn't feel like there's some measure of safety or succor in the nearest future.
Yeah, well said. There's a lot to contend with, a lot to battle with. I seem to, while sharing my condolences with them, and what our reporter who is on ground has been her eyes and ears, Joshua Marai, has said, if you put it together, you would be able to see that these people are simply just calling for intervention, and when they're asking for it now. So it's how fast the government can come to their aid that will definitely help them to be able to get that succor in which they crave. But I'm also worried, and my worry is based on the fact that I do not know since when Nigeria has gotten to a stage where we now have to politicize service, where we need to politicize acts of humanity. And what do I mean? I mean, he did talk about the local assistance that did come, of course, from those who offered the help within the area. But as a government, when this happens, I don't think you need to wait. And if you are working in government, you shouldn't also wait until a directive comes from the top. Hopefully the vice president will get there today, and I'm also hoping that when he gets there, we can also make clear that it is not until the government or until the vice president or the president gets there before you start seeing people. It's kind of like, I mean, with the statements made by Joshua, it's almost like everybody's just folding arms, and the others who could do what they can do are trying their best to provide help. But the main people in whom the residents of Mokwa are hoping to see and hoping to receive help from have not even gotten there yet. And this is where I always talk about communication. It's very key. If you're planning something for the entire community, trust me, it's hard. We are a country where, I mean, sometimes I like the fact that NEMA had been warning there'll be flash floods and so on and so forth. Very good. But aside from warning, what are the plans made available or put in place to ensure that should there be a natural disaster, how do we get out of it?
I'm very happy that you're mentioning that.
How do we get out of it?
I'm very, very happy that you're mentioning that, because the problem is we will repeat this cycle, unfortunately.
Oh, yes.
It will just be everybody mourning, we'll show some solidarity and sympathy, and after a while, when they settled into the internally displaced persons camp, we move on. Forgetting that we're entering into the peak of rainy season, and the potential of this happening again is high. Deaths have been estimated to be over 200, even though there are those who believe that the deaths could have been as high as 700 because of people who have been swept into the Niger River. There are over 3,000 people who have been displaced. Imagine waking up. I think for us to understand the magnitude of what these people in Niger State are dealing with, imagine waking up from your house, going to work, and not being able to come back to your home. Why? Because your home has been swept away from the ground up. You lose everything you worked for, finances, property, family members, and sometimes, you know, in some cases, it might be people who even have to fight for their lives because they've gotten injured in the flood or they swallowed a lot of water, so they're now in intensive care units fighting for their lives. We're seeing here, according to the report, over 3,000 people have been displaced, more than 265 houses destroyed, 503 households have been impacted. Critical structure, including 3 bridges, were washed away, cutting off traffic between the northern and the southern parts of the country. Indeed, there have been entire families that have been wiped out, right? We're seeing here that there's families and survivors that are recounting the harrowing loss they've had to experience. When we began the show, I mentioned the man who talked about losing 9 people, 5 children, 4 adult women, bodies, clothing, household items, everything just there, an indication that we could have prepared better for this. They are blaming it on climate change. They're saying that with heavier rains, we should expect more situations like this. But what do we do to forestall this? Or what do we do to ensure that we are more proactive as opposed to reactive? How do we prepare for this? What's the prediction with NEMA in terms of rainfall expectations for the year 2025? Which zones? Yes, they've been announcing the zones that have been affected. I remember the day I brought it up in the papers. My question was, I hope that the different bodies and organizations, MDAs involved, are taking note of these warnings by NIMET and making the necessary moves. So in terms of ensuring, exactly. Yes. And I remember that day we had Mr. Habib Haruna on the show. So it's just really very, very, very sad to see the reality that Nigerians have to deal with. And I'm hoping that this is some sort of a wake-up call for us to let us know that we need to support the people of Niger State. We need to ensure that they do not, we can't take away the pain that they feel, but if we do not stand up and show up for them, then we'll fail them as Nigerians. But even importantly as well, is to ensure that we take away lessons from this and ensure that we are further prepared to prevent eventualities and casualties of this magnitude in the future.
Absolutely. Well, we'll not forget too that the president had given directives for the bridge, the link bridge, to be fixed immediately. And then, of course, he also gave directive to the bodies to ensure that they actually get into work. I'm talking about the Niger State Emergency Management Agency, and not forgetting to every other one who is equally involved as well. So that's exactly what we're going to look at. Hopefully, we would get updates as well concerning that story. Well, let's quickly see who we can get to join us concerning this conversation. Joining us now is Dr. Ibrahim Audu Hussaini. He is the Director, Information and Special Duties, NSEMA. Thank you so much for taking time to join us. We did see you in the report where our correspondent was asking you a few questions, but how has it been like? Can you paint a picture for us to understand the challenges that you are faced with, especially now?
Thank you very much for having me in your studio. And like I said, you are doing a wonderful work. Because for you to come down to Mokwa from where you are, it's so that you are committed to, without anybody inviting you, show that you are committed to providing the people the right information they need, and also to give to Nigerians the true picture of what is happening in Nigeria, not staying where you are to get information or to fabricate information. I want to say what is happening is very, very massive. In fact, it's one of the worst flooding situations we have in Niger State. For us, yesterday, we have lost 160 people that we can count, and can verify, not to hearsay. So it is very, very massive, and it needs other attention because over 3,000 people have been displaced and affected. And you know, the issue of their houses completely destroyed, damaged beyond repairs, and it needs intervention it needs serious intervention and serious attention for these people to get down to normal life, because most of them has lost their loved ones. So they have the issue of their physical being, the issue of their mental being, and also the issue of how do they continue with their life. So the issue there is very, very massive. So since when it happens, the state government, the state governor has directed that all hands must be on deck, and all the response agencies, all the government functionaries are shifted towards that in order to ensure that those people are actually taken care of, to show that they are with them and then to stand with them, because this is the one they need the government most. And the government is doing that by providing shelter, food and non-food items, and also providing psychosocial services to the people in conjunction with our partners like NEMA, like IOM, like Red Cross, and so many NGOs. And he has also invited the federal government. The federal government has come. In fact, the BP is on its way now to this place. Some Minister of Work was here because of the road that was rehabilitated. Minister of Information and that of humanitarian were in Niger State to communicate with the state and also see where they can come in. The government is putting all on, mobilizing every resources, every personnel, everything that needs to be done.
Dr. Hussaini, I'm wondering if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I just want to butt in because you made a statement. Our reporter on ground has explained to us that the shelter provided is not conducive enough for the people, and some government officials who were expected to have come to also offer aid have equally not arrived. Can you confirm to us if this is true? Because you've been on ground, are you saying that the shelter that has been provided for the people is all well and good and very conducive for them?
Not conducive yet. We are moving there because there is pandemic everywhere. When it happens, we are trying to put them in camp, and then the first place we are trying to give them provide support for them in terms of food items and the sleeping materials. But then we have not been able to. That time, the issue of profiling and also assessing and getting the actual figure or getting the actual, identifying the actual beneficiary or actual victims was a problem initially. And then they were also having problem of cooperating with us in the sense that most of them that have lost their loved ones also have the hope that probably some of them will be seen alive or maybe their dead bodies will be recovered. So this mental problem has affected them, and you see, when somebody lost, no matter what they grieve, they were grieving, so we were having challenges of trying to tell them that we are there for them, or trying to tell them that we are going to the soccer and what do you call it? The accommodation we are providing for them, they refuses to go to that place because most of them were still going back to where they are, still sleeping there to see, and then scavenging to see if they can recover some certain things. Because some of them has attachment, you know how Nigerians are, how Africa attachment to where I was staying. And then the first day we attempted to distribute relief assistance. Every other person, every people, they were flooded. The environment was flooded by different people. So we realized that if we should start as at that particular moment, we might not get the actual target beneficiaries. And then at the end of the day, it will assume as if we have wasted the relief assistance for different people that come. Because you know the situation in the country, everybody was just around. So the leaders of the communities, in collaboration with our partners, IOM, Red Cross, and NEMA, we said, okay, let's do profiling house to house. So we have to do that. And it was only when we did that we started the distribution of giving them the distribution. Yesterday, most of them, Simon, as your correspondent was there yesterday, they have started, in fact, I know it's still around, they have started moving to the site. So to where we are located for them. UNICEF was there. The Minister of Works was there yesterday with our deputy governor. So we have two camps and they have started moving. So things are stabilizing because the magnitude, when you have over 3,000 people that are affected, managing them is not a small thing. At the same time, you have people that are sentimental, people that want to blow things out of proportion, people that want to cash in on this situation to enrich themselves. So we have to be very careful, and that is why the issue of relief assistance, the issue of trying to settle them was there. You know, we have never experienced this. They have never experienced this. For them to come to camp, they were thinking if they come to camp, what would they be eating? And Mokwa is just like a one village. It's just like a one community. They are all related. They are related. They are related to one another. So most of them prefer to stay with their carnival, but they have now been reasoning with our constantly talking to them, pleading with them, telling them, and then telling them what we need to do for them and why they need to be in camp. They are now gradually agreeing to our terms.
Can you expatiate on what you meant by people blowing things out of proportion? I don't think I quite understood what you meant there, and those who are trying to take advantage of the situation. Who are these people?
The other people, we have more than 10 communities, 10 areas in Mokwa. So where it's affected was just about 2-3 areas. So you have the youth, you have other people that whenever things like this happen, we have been experiencing this this because we have been in this business for long, and we have been witnessing flood in, year out. So we have been used to managing. So sometimes we need to calm down, allow them to grieve, and allow them to settle down, and allow them to face reality that this is what is going on. And they need to continue their life because who is gone or whatsoever they must have lost is gone. And they that are there, the life is for them.
Oh, we have lost the audio, but thank you for joining us to give us a picture of what the situation is in Mokwa. I hope that I would have been able to ask if we know for certain a confirmed number, or at least a range of the people that we've lost in this.
I mean, I think you mentioned 130 something.
We've seen different numbers. So I've seen 160. I've seen no fewer than 200 people who have died.
They're just estimated.
So I wanted to ask if we know for sure the people that have died from the flood, as well as people that have died after the flood, because from what we're seeing, people are falling ill. Have there been situations where, because of lack of access to proper care and medication, some of them have had to die? Because if we don't have this data, it will not help us. You don't understand the magnitude of a thing if you're looking at it from a surface point of view. And I can understand how maybe overwhelming this would be for them. I hope that they get support, not just from the government of Niger State, but from the rest of the country. We look forward to getting updates of the Vice President's visit and what it has done for the people.